Hey kids, welcome back to another 5-minute Bible story. Today we are going to continue to talk about our heart. Last week we talked about how God is attracted to a good heart. We saw David, he had a good heart even though his brothers were stronger and bigger and older than him. God was attracted to David because he had a good heart and he was brave. Today we're going to continue to talk about that and how God cares not only about a good heart but the condition of our heart, and he makes sure that we have a healthy heart. How many of you have ever had to take medicine before? I know it's pretty gross, right? Like completely yuck, but it's good for us. It helps us feel better when we're sick. Sometimes when we're in pain, it makes the pain go away. Did you know that the Bible actually talks about our heart like medicine? It says in Proverbs 17:22, a cheerful heart is like a good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So what does that mean, cheerful? When I hear the word cheerful, usually I think happy. I think laughing. Did you know that laughing can actually relieve tension in your muscles, can make you feel relaxed, and it helps you to de-stress for up to 45 minutes after laughing? That's pretty cool, right? But did you know that laughing also helps your heart pump blood faster through your body, so that it helps you to feel better, and it just makes your heart happy, which makes your body happy. So laughing is always a good thing, and the Bible even encourages to have a cheerful heart. So today's Bible story, we're going to continue talking about David and about his heart. Last week we talked about how David had a good heart and God liked that and chose David out of all of his brothers, even though he was the youngest, he was the smallest, he was the shortest, he wasn't as old and experienced as his older brothers, but God chose him because of his good heart to be the next king of Israel. So we're going to pick up on David a few years later. His older brothers were actually in the Israelite army, and they were fighting a group of people called the Philistines. David was sent by their father to take them food and just supplies for them out at their camp in the Israelite army so that they would have some things to do and eat. And he came across the Israelite army, and they were set up across a field from the Philistine army, but nobody was fighting, nobody was attacking. David was curious, so he asked his brothers, why are you guys not fighting? What's going on? Like, why is there this big guy over there yelling at us? And his brothers explained to him that the Philistines had a guy who was their champion. The kings of the Philistine army, the king of the Israelite army, who was Saul at the time, decided that they would battle their champions against each other, and whoever won would win, and that would solve the whole fight. So they didn't have to send all their men into one big fight, but they would just have their champions fight. But the Philistines had a hidden agenda because they had a guy named Goliath. You've probably heard that name before. In fact, Goliath is actually it's a word that we use to describe someone that is huge, because Goliath was 9 feet tall. I want to put a little picture here in reference. This is David right here, boop, and this is Goliath right here. See how much bigger? He was so much bigger than David. But do you know what? David wasn't scared of Goliath like the rest of the Israelite army. In fact, he said, I'm going to go talk to King Saul about this. He went to King Saul and he said, King Saul, I don't like that we are cowering in fear, hiding from this Philistine giant. God has given me the strength to go out and fight him. And King Saul was encouraged by David's brave heart. And he was like, you know what? Take my armor, use my armor, go out in the battle, and you can fight this battle against Goliath. But Saul's armor was much too big for David. In fact, Saul was a man and David was just a boy, so it wasn't going to fit. David says, no, I don't need your armor. I can fight him with God on my side. So he actually went to a creek nearby and he picked up 5 stones. And he took it with him with his sling, which is it's like a slingshot, but you twirl it around and then you let go and it throws the rock. He said, that's all I need to fight Goliath. So he went up to Goliath, and Goliath was like, who is this little runt that you sent here to fight me? I was like, is this a joke that you would send this little kid out to battle me? But David was not scared, despite Goliath's sword was probably bigger than David. It probably weighed more than David. So the battle started, and David started to swing his sling, and Goliath was taunting him and taunting the Israelite army like he had been for days, and just saying, this is the best the Israelite army can do. This is a joke. And David threw a stone with his sling and hit Goliath right in the forehead and just knocked him out cold and ended the battle right there. In fact, he actually took his sword and chopped off his head just to make sure it was all done. I know that's gross, but that's part of the Bible story, that David defeated Goliath with God's help, even though Goliath was this massive man, taller than my ceiling in my house, and David was just a young boy, just like a lot of you in our River Kids family. So don't ever let anybody look down on you because you're young, because God can use you no matter what, as long as you trust him and have a brave heart. So today we're going to play a little game together. I'm actually going to do this for the next few weeks just to have some fun with you, but you might have noticed already, but there is something different about the wall behind me. So every week I'm going to change something. This week's going to be a little easy because it's a pretty big change, but I'm going to change one thing every week, and I want you to try to figure out what it is and then comment down below. So this is your time right now. If you notice something different about the backdrop behind me, I want you to comment below what the difference is, and we'll see who can get it right. So that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed our story. I will see you next week when we continue to talk about our heart in next week's 5-minute Bible story. I'll see you then. Bye, kids.